Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to all of you in India, and a very good morning to those of you who are joining us from Europe. On behalf of Access India and the EU delegation in India, we would like to welcome you to our webinar on the Marie Skłodowska-Curie Postdoctoral Fellowship Call 2021 with hosting offers from Europe. My name is Samrat Kumar. I am the country coordinator of Access India. And this webinar is conducted in a partnership with the EU delegation here in India and the support of the embassies of Italy, Norway, and Sweden here in India. So actually, we are very happy to see so many of you joining us today. This postdoctoral fellowship, the MSCA, is one of the world's best funded programs, and it's allowing researchers from anywhere in the world to do excellent postdoc studies at the European host institution. Today, we are very happy to give you an overview about the 2021 MSCA Postdoctoral Fellowship Call, which brings also some novelties and some exciting novelties for you. And we're also very happy to have speakers from European countries, namely from Italy, Norway, and Sweden, who will give you an overview about the opportunities for postdoctoral research in their countries, and also specifically a focus on the MSCA. Now, let me first welcome our colleagues from the EU delegation in Delhi. Dr. Vivek Dham is with us. As always, great to have you, Vivek. We also, Tanya Friedrichs, who is the head of the Research Innovation Sections, will join us very shortly. She's been held up with some urgent task, but she's coming soon in, and we will also welcome her again. Then I would like to give a very warm welcome to our presenters from Europe. I would like to start with Ms. Martina De Sole. She's the head of the International Cooperation National Contact Point for the MSCA Horizon 2020 at APRE. Welcome, Martina. Very nice to have you with us. Next, a warm welcome to Dr. Per Magnus Kommandantvold. He is a special advisor at the Department of the Open Research Arena at the Research Council of Norway. Per Magnus, a warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us. And last but not least, Mr. Douglas Washburn. He's a senior marketing manager at the Swedish Institute. I suppose, Douglas, you're in Stockholm?
I am in Stockholm, yes.
Yeah, perfect. So welcome to you as well. And before we start with the first session, I would like to give you just a brief overview about today's webinar. And you will have the opportunity to pose questions in our Q&A box. After each presenter, we will have the opportunity for a Q&A with the presenters. And I would also like to give you just a few house rules before we start. And I hope I can switch to this. Yeah, just wanted to let you also know that we have a couple of upcoming webinars also under the MSCA Postdoctoral Fellowship umbrella. We have next week a webinar where we will have Austria, Finland, and Poland featured. And on 29th of June, we will feature Czechia, France, Portugal, and Spain. Now to the house rules. As I said, there's a possibility for you to pose your questions in the Q&A box. And at the end of each presentation, hosting offer presentation, we will try to answer your questions. Due to time constraints, maybe not all questions can be answered. So please, you have the possibility to contact us or the speaker after the event, and we will make sure to follow up on your questions. Should you face any technical issues, the golden rule is try to log out and log in again. We will send you a follow-up email with the presentations and the link to the recording. So don't worry, you don't have to take too many notes. Just sit back and look at the presentations. And of course, please do send us your feedback after the webinar. Just stay in touch with Access. As most of you know, we are on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, So there are many ways to find and connect with us. Okay, so now I would ask Dr. Vivek from the EU delegation to start with his presentation about
I did join in the meantime. I did join in the meantime.
Perfect. Very warm welcome to Tanya Friedrichs, Minister Counselor, Head of the Research Innovation Section at the EU delegation. We already informed the audience, Tanya, that you will be a few minutes late, and I'm great you're here. Tanya, India and MSCA Postdoctoral Fellowship is a success story, isn't it?
Absolutely, and good afternoon, everybody. Good morning for those that are in Europe. I've seen Martina that I haven't seen for a very long time, so a warm welcome. Thank you so much, really, to everybody. It's a good mix of participation. Congratulations, I see we have almost 500 participants. This is overwhelming. This is something that we like to do because it's our success story that we have such an enthusiastic but also good Indian scientists that are interested to go to Europe, that take Europe as a destination to continue their research postdoctoral. So that is the first very positive thing of this event. The second thing is that it's really been a team Europe spirit cooperation. We had USAMRAC, we the delegation and the individual member states. We will have 10 or associate countries in total in this 3 webinars. And as you said on a topic, a success story, not later than this morning, we shared the results of the previous individual called under Horizon 2020, the individual fellowship. And India is the best beneficiary of that program. So that really, you can be proud of that because it shows that you have scientific excellence. And that is all what we need. More than ever, we need scientists to tackle the global challenges, to address the issues that we are all facing. So never has science been so important. And if you say that, you need, of course, scientists to do that. So I'm very happy that there are that many potential candidates and that, of course, they have the destination Europe. And a good mix of European countries, not always have a variety of top universities where you can all try to go. And all these host countries, in turn, can also try to increase or improve their score of hosting more Indian students. Because again, from the sharing of the information this morning, I did have some feedback that said, oh, I would like to have more Indian students. So take your chance, listen very carefully, and best of luck. And thank you for the organization.
Thank you, Tanya. And without further delay, please, Vivek, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Samrat. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay. Is it full screen? Can you confirm, please?
Perfect, Vivek.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks once again for such a huge number you are participating. Take my word, we will not disappoint you. Please stay tuned till the end of presentation because you'll have a lot of information which you can build upon after this seminar. So I'm going to give you an overview of Marie Sklodowska-Curie Action under Horizon Europe, a special focus on Postdoctoral Fellowship 2020. So today's my presentation outline is I'm going to give a brief overview about Marie Sklodowska-Curie. The abbreviation is MSCA under the Horizon Europe. And what are the benefits? What are the eligibility criteria of postdoctoral fellowship? I will be giving a bit of details on that. Host country and host institutions, application format, formalities, widening fellowship, evaluation criteria, and tentative timelines. This is something which I will quickly go through next 10, 15, 20 minutes time. So before I enter to the Marie Sklodowska-Curie program, I just wanted to make sure and make you understand that this program is part of Horizon Europe 2021-2027. So what is Horizon Europe? Basically, European Union funds the entire research and innovation activity through framework program. And the framework program which just ended was named Horizon Europe, Horizon 2020. And the program which will launch in 22nd June is named Horizon Europe 2021-2027. So it is a 7 years program. This is a brief outline, a structure of the program. It is divided in 3 pillars. So pillar 3 is basically focused on innovation activities. Pillar 2 is focused on global challenges. And pillar 1 is focused on excellent science, that is idea-driven research programs, which we call even basic research, but more inclined towards innovation. So under the pillar 1, you will have European Research Council and Marie Sklodowska-Curie. So this is a very idea-driven pillar which we fund excellence of science, path-breaking research under this area, and European Commission investing something 25 billion euros in next 7 years. So what is Marie MSCA? So that is very, so again, I will tell you the Marie Sklodowska-Curie Action stand for MSCA. And this program was launched 25 years ago. It was named after the legendary researchers Marie Curie, and later on it was a bit elaborated Marie Sklodowska-Curie Action because her Polish name is Sklodowska. So her name is given to this program because her life path attitude reflect the main feature of this program, that is excellence and mobility. These programs offer funding for best and most promising researcher to work on excellent research project. It supports researchers at any stage of their research career from any country, any nationality, focusing on training and research career. So the European Commission will spend around 6.6 billion euros for MSCA Actions in the next 7 years. It has 5 different actions. One action, first action is doctoral network, which will fund the PhD. Second is postdoctoral fellowship, staff exchange, co-funding, and Marie Curie researchers nights, we call it. These are the 5 actions are built upon under the Marie Sklodowska-Curie action. So, but today's focus will be only on postdoctoral fellowship. So I will just continue with that. So this is the first take-home message. Please read carefully. Please listen carefully, because what the funders, what is the logic, what is the rationale behind this program is needed to understand very properly, because this needs to translate, this needs to be reflect into your research program, research proposal. This carries a lot of weight because this is not a regular postdoctoral fellowship. We are looking for next generation researchers. So this is something different. We want researchers with entrepreneurial, innovative, problem solving attitude and idea process. So these are very special, very highly competitive fellowships. So what we are looking, the objective of this particular program is foster excellence through implementation of original personal research project designed by the young researcher. Enhance the creative and innovative potential of researchers through mobility, through international, intersectoral, and interdisciplinary fields. And the researchers will bring, because as I said, we want an entrepreneur, not only researchers, but entrepreneurs. So we are bridging the gap between academia and non-academia, that is industry. So you will have a lot of exposure, a lot of opportunities to work in non-academic sector, that is in industrial area. So basically this Marie Sklodowska-Curie actions are bottom up. What it means a bottom up? Because you will have a free hand to choose a subject of your choice. It is more of a choice of researchers and host institutions, which area you want to apply. There is no specific call or called topic, which will be deciding your areas of expertise. So it is a free hand. That is why it is all Marie Curie programs are bottom up. It has all scientific fields covered, that is STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and more importantly, because we keep on receiving these queries from Indian research, younger Indian research community, social science and humanities and economic science are part of scientific field, okay? Because in India, the Ministry of Science and Technology doesn't cover these areas as a scientific field, but in Europe, as a European Commission, we equally treat these two subjects as a scientific field. So please, those who are not participating from this particular field, please convey the message that this scholarship, these fellowships are open for social science as well as economic sciences. So this basically postdoctoral fellowship is mono-beneficiary action. It is divided into two fellowships. One is European Postdoctoral Fellowship and Global Postdoctoral Fellowships. So what is European Postdoctoral Fellowship means? That is meant for researchers who wants to come to Europe, who from any part of the country or any part of the world. So it is meant for incoming, that is from outside to Europe, and that is why the name is given European Postdoctoral Fellowship. And other fellowship is Global Postdoctoral Fellowship, which is meant for the European nationals or long residing researchers who want to go out of Europe to different parts of the world to do a postdoc. But today's focus, looking at the audience, we decided to focus only on European Postdoctoral Fellowship, which you are, the Indian young researchers are eligible. So this European Postdoctoral Research Fellowship also has the second chance, that is called as Widening Fellowship. I will explain you later in my presentation. So the application will be open most likely, because these are all TBCs. So please remember that we are making this program, or we are taking this program much before the launch of, so all the dates are to be confirmed. So most likely on 22nd June 2021, the program or the will be launched. The application links will be open for submission of a complete proposal. It will close most likely on 12th of October. All the submission of application will be through electronic submission system. It will be available on funding and tender portal of European Commission. So who are eligible for this particular program? The first and most important mobility rule that you should understand, you also explain that to your host in Europe. Those candidates must not have lived, worked, or studied in the country for the future European Host Institute for more than 12 months during last 36 months or 3 years to the period of deadline. What it means, like if I'm a potential candidate for postdoc and I did my PhD for last 3 years in France, I will not be eligible to apply for postdoctoral fellowship in any of the French institute. I have to go out of France. That I may go to Italy, I may go to Austria, Norway, other parts, but not in France. What that signifies that the program wants to elaborate your research network. You have to make your research network wider and wider and global. That is why they are giving an opportunity so that you can discover, you can liaise with different teams across the world. Any nationality, including Indians, are eligible for full funding through Marie Curie. Any age. At the time of application, the candidate must hold PhD. I repeat, the candidate must hold a PhD at the time of submission of the application. And the candidate should not have more than 8 years of research experience after the PhD. So I will just a little bit elaborate, because this is the second take-home message. The eligibility is very important to understand. So if I am complete my PhD at 23, I can still eligible for postdoctoral fellowship till age of 30. If I finish my PhD at age of 53, I can still eligible for the postdoctoral fellowship at age 60. So that is why it is mentioned any age, but you should have hold the PhD at that time when you are submitting. At least you should have defended your viva, and provisional certificate should be in hand, which will be needed to upload at the time of application. So please don't send any of these queries, whether my viva is later on and whether we can submit later on. There is no possibility. You must have a PhD degree in hand. So this is a frequently asked questions, but please listen carefully what we are telling right now. That will save your time and our time as well. So who can be your host? You can be hosted in academic and non-academic sector. Any university, research institute, or international European research organization, or even industry or SMEs who are part of the active research and innovation, actively involved in research and innovation can be your host. So who could be the host? You will have plenty of opportunities to find a host. That the 27 European member state could be your host. These legal institutions, university could be hosted in any of this country, or Horizon Europe associated country. These are right now not confirmed, but we are calling incoming association countries. This will be confirmed in by June 22nd, 2020. So please look for the complete guidelines on the funders and portal, funders and participant portal. So Switzerland at this moment, the discussions is on, right now it is on hold, but UK could be a potential associated country in Horizon Europe. But please check all these countries, whether they are part of association of Horizon Europe or not, on funders and portal, funders and tender portal on 22nd of June. So who is involved in the application? That is you, that is applicant who had a PhD in hand and less than 8 years of experience. Supervisor, who can supervise you. So any experienced researchers from private sector or industry, from university could be your potential research supervisor. So there are specific guidelines has been issued by European Commission who could be a supervisor. Please go through, because this is very crucial selection. He needs to be aware of your research project. He should have a sufficient experience in that particular field. Beneficiary of this entire program is always host institute in Europe. That could be university, institute, or industry. And please note that, because this is again and second frequently asked question, these beneficiaries are validated as a legal entity by European Commission, and they call as participant identification code. That is the PIC number. So it is like a GST or PAN number what in India has. So each institution has this PIC number. This PIC number is mentioned in the application form of the European university, not the Indian institute. Don't you have nothing to do with the Indian institution. It is only about the European university. The administrative coordinator will be from the university or institute which is hosting you. So how does it work? First, you need to find the host. After my presentation, there are 3 countries from Europe will give you an opportunity how to find the host. They will be guiding you. Then the proposal writing. Once you find the host supervisor, you and the host supervisor has to jointly write this proposal. Please remember that this is not a unilateral or unidirectional training or sharing. It has to be an exchange of ideas and knowledge, because you can also contribute to the European lab, and European lab and supervisor will also contribute to your skills and knowledge. So it has to be both ways. So please take this point in consideration. Submission of proposal, only the European host is able to submit, because they are the beneficiary and you will be the potential candidate nominated into the application. So the host will submit the proposal. Only one proposal per individual is accepted. If you have host offers from different countries, it will not be considered. The last proposal which will be submitted will be considered for evaluation. The maximum proposal funding for 12 to 24 months. The European host receives the money and recruits you as a researchers in institutional payroll. So what is the duration? European Fellowship is for 12 to 24 months. The secondment, that is very important, the secondment, because I already mentioned a lot of exposure is given to non-academic sectors. So you are able to, while designing the proposal, You can also thought of secondment for short term in industries. So that it can be from any part of the world. That is a novelty of this new program. After the finishing of this particular fellowship, you'll have additional placement up to 6 months in non-academic sector, which will bridge between the academia and researchers. So that is also a new novelty under the Horizon Europe program. So this is, very good funding, generously funded program. Living allowance, it's 5,080 euros per month. That is the salary you will receive. You will also have mobility allowance, family allowance, plus the institution will get, host institution will get research and training cost and management cost. If you take in total something 7,900 euros per month is spent on postdoctoral fellowship. So these are the benefit. I will not go into the details. Again, you will have an opportunity to work on your own proposal, 100% funding. That is something, and it is a mutual benefit win-win situation for host as well as the candidate. So the application structure, I will just briefly, I'm just, Samrat, just give me 2 minutes. I will finish it off in 2 minutes. Application form is divided in 2 parts, part A and part B. So part A is very structured form, that is online application form, where you will have to fill up different sections, general information, administrative data, budget, ethics. So this is, I'm just taking from the Horizon 2020 template because there might be slight changes in Horizon Europe. So you need to check again the new template when it will be published on 22nd. So this is the fixed data, that is part A. Part B is more like a scientific, which you can download from the website and you will fill up this scientific, that is more like a scientific proposal. It has maximum page limit also mentioned. It may vary with the new program. So again, request you to check the new guidelines. Your proposal maximum is anticipate 10 page, which should address the excellence, impact, and implementation. So again, the documents you will be asked for the CV, capacity of organization, ethical issues. These are the overall structure to give you an idea. So those, I already mentioned the widening fellowship because you will have a second chance. Those candidates who are from the widening country will have a second chance if the host institute is located in widening country. I will come to a next slide which specifies which are the widening countries that are not funded due to the lack of budget will get a funding under the widening funding program. So who are the widening countries? Because these are the new countries. These are having excellence, but less known. So the mission had given an additional grant to make these countries more attractive to go for this. And I urge all the Indian researchers to, they are also hosting excellent, very good institutions across their countries. So I'll appeal to all of you, look even the host from these countries. There are 12 association countries, which is incoming, which will be again defined by 22nd of June. So there is no need of separate application. In the given application, when you will be applying for a European fellowship, there will be one question within the application, whether you want to participate in widening fellowship. You just have to say yes or no. If yes, your application will be considered automatically if you are above 80-85 percentage for a widening fellowship. So no second submission, it is automatic integration into the second chance you will get it. The evaluation criteria. The evaluation of these proposals are done by international peer review process. Is one of the best and fair review process you will come to know. The criteria of evaluation is on excellence, impact, and implementation. Excellence has a maximum weightage of 50, which reflects on excellence of research proposal, researcher's profile, institute, and the method, the scope of the method of implementation. So these are the criteria. There are plenty of information available. Those who score 85% but unable to get into the program will also have a seal of excellence. Some PIs might go for a national funding, and this seal of excellence could be of advantage for you. So what is the success rate? These are highly competitive, highly popular scholarship programs across the world. So 14 to 18%, that is the previous Horizon 2020 Marie Curie's, I'm giving this figure, 14 to 18% overall success rate. So very fiercely competitive scholarship program. But the good thing, and that could motivate that, as of today, there are 1,900 Indian researchers managed to crack the Marie Curie Fellowship. Out of that 19, the 31% were female researchers. So that is very encouraging, and that also underlines the India's excellence and what qualities bring to the program. So take this as a positive step towards application. There are, what Tanya just mentioned, overall, the postdoctoral fellowships which Indians had benefited are 449 in last 7 years. India ranked second among the non-European countries after China as the most benefited researchers in non-European countries. So these are the tentative timeline. As I mentioned, 22nd June opening, 12th of October most likely closing. October, December could be the evaluation. The information of outcome, that is the result, will be communicated to you between February, March. If you are selected, the institution will be asked for a grant signing agreement between March and April. If that is successfully signed, you will able to begin your postdoctoral fellowship in the month of between April and September. These are all tentative, is all depend on when the program will be launched. But this will give you an idea how to prepare yourself. So next step, you have to find a host institution, supervisor, think about the secondment, think about the career development and training, and you have to read these two documents which will be available on 22nd of, that is guideline for application of PF on the 2021 and Marie Curie work program 20, because the work program will give what is the rationale behind the program. So please read this document. These are the links I'm going to share with you. I will not go in details. You can contact us through email, Samrat's email address, through your access. We'll be more than happy to help you out. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you so much, Vivek, for guiding us through the new call. And we, of course, have also our speakers here, Per Magnus, who is also very well acquainted with the program. And I've seen, thank you, Per Magnus, you also took some questions. You gave some answers in the Q&A. That was very helpful because my fingers were burning right now to try to keep up with all the very important questions which our audience has. And so Vivek, you ready to take some of the questions? We try to answer as much as possible, but please, for those whose questions have not been answered, you can always write to the delegation or to your access, and we will try to, to help you finding the answer. So Vivek, we have many students from the engineering fields, and they're wondering if they are eligible for the postdoc, like we have biomedical, aerospace engineering. So our dear researchers from the engineering departments are wondering if they are eligible to apply.
Yes, all are eligible. Even the engineering field is a part of Marie Curie Fellowship program. So there is no discrimination. There is no omission of this. Any researchers who has an ability to have a research program which can address the innovation, which can have global challenges, address these are all eligible for that. So there is, all fields are included in.
Perfect. Another question, Vivek, is coming, if someone has transitioned to industry after the PhD, can he or she still apply? And even she has lower research experience now, lower publications, will that be a hindrance to apply?
If you remember Baba Saheb from the Oxford University who was there, so the publication is not as such a big criteria. The novelty of the proposal, what kind of a dimension you bring to the program, whether how the program is going to mutually benefit both the parties, and how effectively you are putting forward the idea to be take forward upscale. So those are the also important point, not only the publication. Definitely publication makes a lot of importance in it, but the idea of the proposal, how novel, how excellent the proposal is, the weightage is given to that as well.
Okay. Thanks you for that. There's a novelty in the call now, Vivek, that up to 8 years, right? That's the maximum of the gap one can have after the PhD. So what if someone has 10 years already, across 10 years of research experience?
No, I was going through the different criterias, and has to be 8 years. That is the seal which has been, this is the new novelty in this program. Earlier it was quite wide open, but then they realized because they want to have young researchers to be part of it, the formation.
Yeah.
So the 10 years is more like an experienced guy who can go for a collaborative research. The horizon Europe will be open for him, but we anticipate those people who are on an average Finnish PhDs need some kind of exposure for upscaling their research career. So that is meant for those people.
Another important question, especially from our audience from India, is can one have a university in the UK as a host institution? What's the situation of the UK right now when it comes to Horizon Europe?
Tanya will also add in right now the UK negotiations are still on, so it is premature to say anything right now. So most likely the UK could be a part of it, but it is better to wait until 22nd of June when the applications and the program will be published, because these are all speculative answers which we will be giving. So my humble request to wait till 22nd, where the UK's participation will be black and white on paper.
Can one apply can one apply for 2 different host institutions?
No, that is what I said. It has to be one candidate, one application. If you make 2 applications, okay, one is from France and one is from Italy, and the Italian submission is the second one. So the last submission will be considered for the evaluation. So it has to be one submission per candidate. So that is what because anyway, it is very difficult to formulate the proposal within such a short time, because it needs 3 to 4 months to compile the very competitive proposal. So I don't think so somebody is going to do that kind of adventure. And it is better always to have one confident researchers, supervisors, and liaise with him and inform all the details what he or she is doing for the scholarship. It is not a good idea to apply for 2 hosts at the same time.
Okay. Vivek, now you and I will go into the Q&A and continue answering as much as we can. And we kindly ask now Martina to come in and tell us about the opportunities in Italy. Let me just briefly, again, welcome Martina and give you a bit of a background about her. So as I said, Martina is the head of the National Cooperation, National Contact Point for Horizon 2020, the predecessor program. But at APRE, she has a degree in international law and a postgraduate certificate in European policies. Martina is an expert in European policies and programs for research and innovation. And she has been officially appointed by the Ministry of Research, Education and University as a national contact point of the European Commission in Italy for industrial technologies. And she's now the head of the digital industry and space team as well. She's also head of the international cooperation, as I said, and she also has experience working with India. She's been coordinator of the India Gate project and also responsible for the European Innovation Platform in India, which was a project just recently here in India. So it's good to have you, Martina. Thank you, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Samrat. I would like really to thank you, Tanya and Vivek, for the invitation. And I also would like to bring the greetings of Massimo Spadoni, who is the Italian science attaché, who couldn't be here today. Before starting, I just would like to say that I am not an NCP for Marie Curie, but for industrial technologies. So I will present in, but I will rely on your expertise to answering questions I will not be able to answer. So forgive me about this. But before starting, I would like to start sharing a little bit of a vision of Italy on research and innovation. We often think about Italy thinking about the beauty of the country, culture, art, but we have really a lot on science as well. So please just let me share this with you. Is it working? Mm-hmm.
Martina, is there supposed to be an audio?
Is it working?
You have to unmute, I think. We can't hear the audio.
I cannot hear. Okay, it didn't work. I hope it worked. It was very brief. Samrat, I heard you, it didn't work. Samrat, you're actually
sorry.
muted.
We only could see the video, but there was no audio, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm very sorry. But anyways, it was really very dramatic music, just to emphasize the beauty of science. So let me please start. This is was just to say that we wanted to showcase a little bit of the great infrastructures there are in Italy, of course, besides the universities and all the, one second, let me share this. Oops. Let me share this as well. And let's start with the presentation. So this to say that as many, probably all of you know, Italy has a great and long tradition in science, starting really from the Renaissance, going through all these different personalities that you can see listed here with a specific huge knowledge in physics, chemistry, medicine, from the very early days of science until now, where we are the pleasure and the honor to have, for example, an Italian scientist as the head of the CERN in Geneva, and many Nobel Prizes, and a lot of proud in our research and science scenario. And of course, this means that you need to have an ecosystem that is actually helping science to thrive. And to do this, the Italian government every number of years, it's supposed to be every 5 years, it's actually publishing a national research program that is highlighting and defining the 12 specific areas of excellence for Italy. And as you can see listed here, we have these huge excellence in aerospace, agri-food, cultural heritage, blue growth, green chemistry, design, creativity, industry, all the made in Italy, energy, let's say the manufacturing, really industry 4.0, sustainable mobility, health, smart, secure and inclusive communities, and also technologies for the life environments. And through this, of course, it's funding research. We have public fundings that are national fundings, regional fundings, but also quite many private investment in research and innovation through foundations. But what is very interesting is that Italy is really very much benefiting from bilateral agreements like the one we have with India, multilateral agreements in the global scenario, and it is one of the main players in the European fundings, especially through Horizon 2020, to the framework programs through Horizon Europe in the future. And of course, Marie Curie, it has been one of the programs that really led a new generation of scientists and also of Italians to go all around the world. And for the Italian institution, it has been a great opportunity to host the best researchers from all around the world. And just to spend just two more words about the ecosystem, Italy is ranking, when considering the upper 10% of the most quoted scientific papers in the world, in the 12 areas that you can see here. We also have some actually first places, so like a golden medal in a way in smart factories, technologies for the live environment, design, energy, and smart community, and we are also very well placed in all the others. The main research institution, we are very proud of our National Research Council with 88 institutes all around Italy, and you will see an offer also from one of them with 220 labs and 3 research poles. Many university, as you might remember, the first university apparently was founded in Italy, and so since then we have 67 state university, 29 private university, and 9 institute of higher education, and a lot of very interesting infrastructures. Probably you have heard many of these from the synchrotron, the National Institution for Physics, and a lot of expertise in medicine and biology. And so we really, really hope that you will have the chance also to come and complete your career path with us. So please let me present to you some of the active, actually all of the active offers. Unfortunately, there are not so many right now, and I had to skip the ones that are closing between now and 2 days from now. So these are not many, but please be assured that there will be many more in the future. Let's start from a CNR, National Council of Research offer. This is in the beautiful island of Sicily in the south of Italy, as you can see from the arrow. It is actually offering opportunities in the Institute for Microelectronics and Microsystem in the Catania headquarters, and actually they are inviting applicants for Marie Skłodowska-Curie Individual Fellowship to join the theoretical research group within the CNR Institute for Microelectronics and Microsystems, and especially they are looking for someone who will be into the investigation of design properties of materials, as well as process simulation, and among others, micro nanoelectronic devices, catalysis, and photovoltaic systems. The background that is researched right now, it is in condensed matter theory, computational chemistry, and scientific code development are encouraged to apply. So it is a very prominent institute when it comes to micro and nano electronics. It has its headquarters in Catania, but there are 6 sections all around Italy, in the north close to Milan, in Agrate Brianza, Bologna, Rome, Naples, Lecce, and Catania, with almost 200 permanent staff and 47 postdocs and 61 PhD students. As you can see from the slides here, they are working especially on micro nano fabrication, characterization, theoretical modeling, and synthesis of advanced materials. So if this is your area, this is of course a very good chance to promote your candidature. The second one is in the Politecnico of Milan, in Milano, and it is offered by the Department of Research Service. This is a peculiar offer because the Politecnico of Milano has a very high success rate when it comes to Marie Curie grants. So they had 85 funded projects in Horizon 2020, 24 individual fellowship, 44 innovative training networks, 15 research and innovation staff exchange, the RISE, and 2 European researchers nights. So what they would really like to do is to offer the opportunity to attend a Postdoctoral Fellowship Masterclass 2021. So you can apply by the 30th of June to be trained to how better draft a Marie Skłodowska-Curie European Postdoctoral Fellowship. So this will help you in drafting the best possible proposal. So this is really an invitation to attend this in-depth training course. And of course, if you are successful, you will attend the course the 12th and the 13th of July, and then you will have a supervisor that is going to help you drafting the proposal. And then the deadline for the submission, as Vivek said before, it is the 12th of October 2021. There are applications open for 30 supervisor project proposals. So it's going to be quite competitive coming from worldwide, but we wish you luck if you are interested. So the application deadline is on the 30th of June. You should have the same rules as the Marie Curie. I'm not going to repeat for each of the different offers, even if I have written in it, but remember the rules of the the 8 years of full-time research experience. You can come from India because it is for any nationality. And please, if you have any question regarding this, you can address the address that I have written here. They are willing to help. They knew that I was presenting this opportunity today. And so please send your CV, letter of motivation, and eligibility self-declaration. There is another opportunity that is for the best 5 Marie Skłodowska-Curie Action postdoctoral fellows hosted by Polytechnic of Milano that will be not funded by the EC, because you know it's a very competitive process. But in case you are among the tops that are getting this seal of excellence, you will be offered a postdoc position for 2 years with a 40,000 euros gross amount as salary and 20,000 for startup fund for research activities, training, and networking. So if you apply, even if you don't be among the selected, you still have a chance to access to this postdoctoral fellowship. Just to give you a background on the Politecnico di Milano, it is the first ranked university in Italy, 137 in the world. It is active in 10 research areas, all technical areas from architecture, design, computer science, chemical engineering, civil and structural engineering, electric engineering, mechanical engineering, material science, and mathematics. And as you can see here, is ranking among the top 10 university in these 7 research areas you can read here, and among the top 50 in these other research areas. It has almost 50,000 enrolled students with a great percentage of foreign students having many courses in English as well, so more than 7,000. And during the time of FP7 and Horizon 2020 had a great number of projects, 281 in FP7, and they are still counting how many in Horizon 2020. So the mission is really to be a European leading university capable of guiding research and scientific and technological innovation, besides contributing towards a sustainable and inclusive development. Next offer is with the University of Torino, Turin, as you can see here, still in the north of Italy, a little bit more on the west, and it is with the Department of Computer Science. In this case, they are looking for a candidate with a strong academic record holding at least 2 years master degree in computer science or computer engineering, of course, fluent in English, and the offer is for a 36-month full-time Marie Skłodowska-Curie, an early stage researcher opportunity, and you will conduct a research project on data-driven support to understanding of complex dynamical physical phenomena, such as epidemics. More specifically, the focus of research will be to develop a framework to assist the decision makers suitable for the complex dynamics of the system interconnected under epidemic scenarios and the highly heterogeneous system, varying in spatial and temporal scales data. Of course, this is going to look into complex natural human-based systems, such sparse and noisy observation, and you will be able to work on this very interesting field. The expected post date is the 1st of October. This has a very, very short term. I wanted to present it anyways, even if the deadline is June 15. So if you are very, very interested, you can anyway start addressing the two professors responsible for this, that is Maria Luisa Sapino and Matteo Sereno. As you can see, there are the regular Marie Curie requests for this post. University of Verona, we are going still staying in the north of Italy, close to Venice and the Lake Garda. In this case, University of Verona is opening a postdoc fellowship on excellence on digital humanities, hosted by the Department of Foreign Languages and Literature. And the project is going to be on excellence on digital humanities. The deadline is the 15th of July, so there is a little bit more time. And this project actually is inviting to submit a proposal that will last between 12 and 24 months, and of course is offering the competitive salary offered by the Marie Curie Actions, and it is based on selection, of course, of an excellent CV and a strong publication record. And the expression of interest are in these following research area: linguistic, cultural heritage and digital humanities, literary, philological heritage and digital humanities, and didactics and digital humanities. It is important to note that each of these research areas features also several sub-projects. So the applicants should look into the website and explicitly make reference to the relevant sub-projects. So this is the 3 macro areas, but if you are of the field, please visit the website and just select the ones where you would really like to apply. So the candidates must be eligible according to the criteria, of course, of the Marie Curie Postdoctoral Fellowship, and to have a PhD at the call deadline, that is the 15th of September. Again, the deadline is the 15th of July. Excuse me. University of Verona is also a middle university with 20,000 students and 1,500 staff, with very good infrastructures and a great propension towards innovation, and the link also with the industrial world. So if you are in this field, please be aware that this is also a very good Italian university if you like to apply. The last very interesting opportunity comes with the International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology. That is actually an international organization that I'm going to present shortly. It is based, the headquarters in Trieste, so at the border with Slovenia, actually my lovely region. And the opportunity is really, really interesting. They are welcoming expression of interest from researchers who would like to jointly apply for the postdoctoral fellowship. This is for the laboratories in Trieste, because as we will see, they also have quarters in New Delhi and in Cape Town. So the topics open for now are on infectious diseases, especially on virology, non-communicable diseases, on cardiovascular disorders, immunology, molecular genetics, neurobiology, and cancer, medical biotechnologies, biotherapeutic products, computational biology, and functional cells, and last but not least, the plant biology and biotechnology working on crop improvement. Researchers can be of any nationality, age, and in any field of science, and they must hold a doctoral degree, as we now know, no longer than 8 years prior to the call deadline. And also, of course, they should have resided or carried out their main activities in Italy for over 12 months in the 3 years previous to the deadline. And also they shouldn't have been in ECGAB as well. So ECGAB is an international intergovernmental organization, and it is a center of excellence for advanced research and training in genetic engineering and biotechnology. And it is having really a special regard to the needs of the developing world, having a lot of training from researchers coming from all the world, and especially from the south of the planet. And it has 3 quarters, as I was saying, New Delhi, Trieste, and Cape Town. The thematics are the ones more or less that I have listed for the opportunities for the Marie Curie. So biomedicine, crop improvement, environmental protection, remediation, biopharmaceuticals, and biopesticides production as well. And it has a huge constituency with 59 full member states and 77 signatory countries. So what is interesting to learn about this is, even if you're not applying through a Marie Curie action, they are really having a lot of fellowship for PhD students and postdocs. So you can see their website also if you're interested in this field, because they are actually welcoming a great number of students every year. And beside the basic research they are conducting, they are also very active in technology transfer to industry for the production of biotherapeutics and diagnosis. So there are around, in the Trieste component, 17 research groups with around 200 people, and we really invite you to check these out. So the offers were not so many this time, but I would like very briefly also to create a link with APRE. So we are actually a non-profit organization that has been created by the Ministry of Research more than 30 years ago, and we are the host organization of the Horizon Europe National Contact Points. Almost all the Italian university research centers, banks, industrial association are APRE members, so it is a good way to have links in Italy. We also have 14 territorial info desk and one liaison office in Brussels. We have a team of 3 people working actively on the Marie Skłodowska-Curie. They are our national contact points, and they are providing, especially to Italian researchers, but they of course can answer also your question regarding information or training on funding opportunities of the calls, also giving advice on how to apply for funding, proofreading project proposals, and holding international events. And we are part, as the NCP, also of the European network Net for Mobility. That is a network of national Marie Skłodowska-Curie contact points in Europe and in 3rd countries, with the aim to foster cooperation and communication. And please check it out, because there are a lot of materials, very interesting also while you are drafting your Marie Curie proposal. So I hope I've been in the time I was given, and so please, I will be there around for the Q&A.
Thank you so much, Martina. It was really great to see the different universities and the offers they have. We are a bit behind schedule, so if you don't mind, if we just take Per Magnus in as from Norway, and then we at the end go for the Q&A. Is that okay for you, Martina? Yeah, okay, thank you so much. So just to, in terms of the time regime, I would like now to welcome Dr. Per Magnus Kommandantvold from the Research Council Norway. Per Magnus has been involved in EU research from the early 2000s and is a Marie Sklodowska-Curie Actions and ERC National Contact Point and Program Committee expert for Norway. Earlier, he has been a contact for Research Infrastructures, Region of Knowledge, and the European Institute for Research and Innovation. He has a degree from the University of Oslo in Social Sciences and Languages. Welcome again, and the floor is yours, Per Magnus.
Thank you, Samrat, and thank you for inviting me, and hello to everyone all over India. I'm very glad to be able to give a little bit of information about Norway. First of all, I would like to underline quite a lot of what Martina was saying about Italy, and the services are equal in all the European countries. So I will not go into depth about that, but I will show you a short presentation. If I manage, it's always the same kind of fun when it comes to the, let me see. Nope.
It was visible just now.
It was visible because I couldn't see it for some reason. Okay, let me try this one.
Yeah, it's visible.
It's visible.
Yeah.
I just have to make it
full screen. Yeah. Perfect.
Okay. Thank you. So, I mean, Norway is one of the smaller countries in Europe, and actually we are not a member state of the European Union. So why on earth are we here? Well, Norway has an agreement with the EU, which is called the EEA agreement, meaning that Norway will take part in lots of the activities of the European Union, including the framework programs for research and innovation. Of course, we have to be, as Vivek mentioned, we have to be associated to the framework program. But I think that Norway and Iceland are the ones who are first in line to be associated because we have such a close cooperation. If you know anything about Norway, it's probably has to do with either fish or the fjords or oil or something like that. But of course, Norway is more than that. Norway has developed into one of the more developed countries in the world, and has done so thanks to, of course, the oil, but also because we have other resources that our economy is based on. Among them are mining, minerals, hydroelectricity, petroleum, of course, fishing, as you can see here. Aquaculture is very big. And of course, shipping, because Norway has always been a shipping nation. As a society, we are 5 million people in Norway. And of course, when I enter this session from India, I'm just impressed by the numbers who are participating in this Zoom presentation. So Norway is a rather small country where you can say our values is based very much on trust. It's based on development of new technology. We have a very focus on higher education because we see education as a way of ensuring that our future generations will be able to tackle the challenges of tomorrow. Norway is also very much based on equality. And I don't only mean equality between the genders, but also in society. When it comes to salaries, for example, you will see that the differences between those who work manually or doesn't have a very high income and those who are, let's say, professors or managers, it's not very wide. So this is something that quite a lot of people who go to Norway notice. And of course, because we are a small country, we need to focus on cooperation, both internally, but also within the Nordic countries, within Europe, and also with certain countries around the globe. Our strong fields when it comes to research are renewable energy, geology, petroleum technology, climate change topics. Of course, marine sciences, because we have a very long coast. Maritime, because of our long tradition in shipping. Clinical medicine, and public administration. So Norway is, of course, not the first choice of every one of you. But when it comes to these areas, we have research which is research environments which are really good. And this is just to show you that we have a very closely integrated research, development, and innovation system. And you can see that development is, of course, naturally mostly focused in the industry, whereas in the universities and in the research performing organizations, what we call the institutes, they have very high degree of applied research. And the basic research is, of course, mostly concentrated around the universities and the university colleges. We have an R&D or R&I expenditure in Norway at Norwegian kroner 60 billion Norwegian kroners, 60 billion Norwegian kroners, which equals approximately 6 billion euros, which is basically the same budget as the MSCA Postdoctoral Actions has for these 7 years ahead. Our share of R&D or R&I is above 2% of the GDP, but it's slowly rising. And as I mentioned, of course, a small country needs to focus. And Norway has focused on certain priority countries. Among them are, of course, India. And this is why we also have our Research and Innovation Counselor in New Delhi. But naturally, Europe is our closest region. We are a part of Europe, and thus participating in Horizon 2020 earlier on, and now Horizon Europe, which are the framework programs for research and innovation, is very central to us. So, what about the MSCA Postdoctoral Fellowships? Well, unfortunately, perhaps due to, it's my mistake, because I started introducing an idea which I stole from our Danish friends with having masterclasses for individual postdoctoral fellowships approximately 10 years ago. And that means that most of those expressions of interest that you saw Martina was showing earlier on from Italy, they have been consumed. So they have already taken all their candidates. But I was thinking, it really doesn't matter, because as long as you are a very accomplished young researcher, you can contact the institutions directly and ask if they are willing to host you. It has no cost really for the institution, and this doesn't only apply to Norway, of course, but the institution can only gain if they see that you are a young researcher with a great potential. Then they can say, okay, we will be willing to take you in, and you will have a position here as a Marie Curie Fellow if you succeed to get these the postdoctoral fellowship. And in order to find potential host institutions in Norway, I would say that you should go to the Norwegian website of Euraccess, because on this webpage you can find, in a way, the map of the institutions of the higher education sector in Norway. And Norway being quite small, it's not very hard to go through this list. We have 9 universities in Norway. We also have quite a large institute sector or research organization sector. So what you should do is really to find an institute that works on the same field as you are interested in making a postdoctoral fellowship on, and contact them and ask them, will you be able to host me if I get a postdoctoral fellowship from the Marie Skłodowska Actions? And most probably some will be interested, because I looked at some statistics earlier on and I see that Indian scientists are quite well represented among researchers in Norway. Approximately 1/4 of the researchers employed in Norway are actually non-Norwegians. So this is what I propose that you could do. Make a search on these universities and see what kind of fields do they do research on, and then contact them. As for preparing your potential proposal, Martina mentioned the Net for Mobility Plus, which is the network of all the national contact points all over Europe. And they will have a webinar on postdoctoral fellowships on the 25th of June. And if you go to this link, and all of you, I saw the question come up repeatedly, even though Vivek also mentioned this, these presentations will be sent to you. So you will get this link. Because of the delays in adopting Horizon Europe, the opening of the call has been delayed. So for once, we are going to have a very late webinar on how to apply for the postdoctoral fellowships. Me and my colleague Berit, we are 2 national contact points in Norway. And we haven't determined the date, but it will be late June. And we will probably on tomorrow, after the NCP meeting with the Marie Skłodowska Actions, decide for the date. So you can go to this website in order to find it, hopefully late next week. And you need to remember, and this is not exceptional for Norway either, but there are a lot of opportunities from institutions which are not active in the Marie Skłodowska Actions. Of course, we want you to apply, but if you apply, you can also double your chances by looking at other positions which might be in your field. And if you go to this website on the Euraccess portal, you can search either for, like I did, for country, where you see that there are 210 job offerings, both for PhD students and for postdoctoral researchers. And this is also possible for other countries in Europe. So, and you have to remember that at the postdoctoral level, the Maria Skłodowska-Curie Actions also funds co-funded programs. So you can become a Maria Skłodowska-Curie Action Fellow also outside the postdoctoral fellowship by applying for a co-funded scheme. So I will end by giving you a little bit of points. I mean, why should you go to Norway, a small country at the edge of the globe? Well, I mentioned earlier on all the values that the society is based on. And of course, high quality life is very important. For example, me, myself, I work during the summer, I work for 7 hours between 8 and 3 o'clock. And this is very common because we feel it's important that you spend time with your family or go skiing or you go kayaking or also have a life. Of course, nobody prohibits you from working all day, but well, it's not very common in Norway. And still we do quite well. We have a very good work-family balance. We have great nature. We have also quite vibrant cities. If you look at my pictures, I notice that there are very few people. Well, there are more people. You will not, it's not as dense as in Indian cities, but there are people everywhere, also in our cities. And of course, as you can see from the illustration on the right, we are doing quite well also when it comes to the score of the different Norwegian institutions on rankings. And I just wanted to stop by showing you this. This is from the inauguration of the Maria Skłodowska-Curie Actions Fellow Association, the opening of the Norwegian chapter, which was initiated by Deepak Palaksha on the left. And also one who took part was Pavan Siriram. And they actually discovered during this session that they lived on the same block in Bangalore, but they never met until they came to Norway. And this is a couple of years ago, and both are still in Norway, but now working partly in industry and partly in public sector. So perhaps you can meet some old friends by coming to Norway. So thank you. You can follow me by scanning these QR codes on Twitter and on LinkedIn. And of course, at the first slide, you also found my email address. So if you have questions about doing a PhD, doing a postdoctoral fellowship in Norway, you can send me an email. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Per Magnus. And let me just say that from my own personal experience, I can only speak highly of Norway. I was a PhD fellow at the University of Oslo, 2011, 2015. And, you know, everything you said brought great memories back. I think it's true. It's a smaller country in Europe, but it has an excellent research infrastructure and excellent work environment. So if those of you who are interested, you know, to have a good research career with a good quality of life, Italy, Norway are great countries to go for sure, and of course Sweden as well. And Per Magnus, would you also agree that we take the questions at the end, so we you know, give time to our last presenter? And I'm sure that many of the people in the audience wants to know what's in for them in Sweden, Douglas.
Yeah, absolutely. How are we doing time-wise, by the way, here?
Yeah, we are good in time, so you can.
Okay, excellent. Great, just getting my presentation up here. All right. Do you see the presenter mode or just the slide?
Could you make it full screen?
Yes, that's what I was wondering. 1 second there.
Yeah, perfect.
Full screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. My name is Douglas Washburn. I'm a senior marketing manager here at the Swedish Institute in Sweden. We're a national organization responsible for promoting Sweden abroad, basically, and we work with promoting Sweden as a knowledge nation. I have to say that we don't actually often get to speak with prospective postdocs, so this is kind of new for me today, but I'll do my best to give you guys as useful information as I can, given my background here. I want to start off just giving you guys a really brief introduction to Sweden. Then I'll speak a little bit about postdoc opportunities in the country, and then also speak a little bit about living in Sweden and what we have to offer you. And it's nice we're coming after Norway. We're two countries with a pretty similar profile in a lot of ways, but some differences as well. So we are, despite being twice as large as Norway, we're a small country. We have 10 million people in the country of Sweden, and we have a lot of nature as well. Our largest city is Stockholm with a population of 2 million, counting the entire surrounding area. And we have, it's 80% of the population live in the south of Sweden. So right around on that map where it starts turning yellowish is where Stockholm's located, and most people live around Stockholm or further south. So it's not as cold as you might be thinking initially. Sweden is also known for having outstanding higher education and research. We're a leader in innovation and research funding, and we have 39 outstanding universities in our country, despite only having 10 million people. Something else that's good to know, it's very basic. You can probably tell by my accent. I'm not Swedish originally. I'm from the United States, and I moved to Sweden to do a master's almost 2 decades ago now. But you don't need to know, we do speak Swedish here. That's the one of the official languages, and it's usually what Swedes speak to each other. But you don't need to know any Swedish to survive academically or outside the university as well. Everyone speaks English here. I think we always battle it out with the Dutch as far as who speaks the best English for a non-native English-speaking country in the world. Now I'm going to speak just a little bit about research in Sweden. And so in terms of what our popular subjects are in Sweden or strong fields here, so as I said, we have 39 universities. You can find just about any subject here. Some of the subjects we're more well known for from a research perspective are things like biotechnology, business, of course, design and architecture, engineering, global health, many health-related fields, human rights and international relations, where not only research, but Sweden has a kind of a long background in that area, IT and computer science, life science, and many areas related to sustainability. So we have academic programs in all these areas. We have a lot of research in these areas. And so these are going to be kind of but we do offer other areas, but those are going to be kind of some of the main areas for you. So where are our universities located? As you can see on the map here, there's a big cluster of universities located in the lower third of the country, because that's where most people live. But we do actually have some universities in the north as well. You can see Umeå, it's the fourth furthest up there. And I do believe they have 2 postdoc opportunities right now at Umeå University. One of those is in computer science, and the other is in machine learning, focusing on sequence modeling for protein property predictions at Umeå University. So some just brief information about postdocs in Sweden. So obviously fellowships through Marie Curie, and just in general, postdocs are treated as employments at Swedish universities as well. If you're not coming through that program, and salaries are going to range being around 3,500 euros per month is going to be around the average salary you would get. It is a little hard for me to inform about the available positions for you, just because they're not always posted, for example, on the Your Access site. You can find them on university websites as well, or also on other sites like academic positions. But unfortunately, they're not always posted. And that's despite Sweden having actually a really large amount of international researchers and PhD students as well. Last I checked, I think it was around 35% of at least our PhD students are non-Swedish. And I think it's pretty similar for postdocs as well. So universities here are really international. We do get a lot of international postdocs, but you have to do kind of some of that research yourself, finding out about the positions available. And I should also say that, I mean, there are many PhD students that stay on and do postdocs, and that certainly makes it a little easier. And there's no standardized time for intake for postdocs, which obviously makes it a little challenging as well. Of course, there's some deadlines that you have to adhere to for the funding for Marie Curie, but there are going to be opportunities available for you. Just an overview of how to apply. Of course, you can go through the university or Your Access or other sites. And then, as I said, the deadline is going to vary. There's no standardized deadline. It's like a job ad, basically. And the requirements are going to vary drastically depending on which department you are applying to, which university you are applying to. Just so you do know, our academic year does start in late August. But of course, these positions can be available at different times. But our academic year runs from late August until early June, basically. Just some basic details now about our classrooms and kind of the university atmosphere here, which applies to you. So Sweden is an extremely non-hierarchical country. That applies to Sweden in many ways. So not only at the workplace, where there's basically no titles at all, but in many other ways as well, just related to society in general. It's very non-hierarchical. Organizations, companies are extremely non-hierarchical. And I think that's one of the reasons why Sweden is a leader in innovation, is just because we can get ideas from so many different people due to a lack of hierarchy. And I think that's something it's really nice about the country and doing research here. Kind of related to this as well, it's we have a culture where it's okay to question everything, question authorities. This is related as well to being kind of a non-hierarchical country as well. So I think it can be really nice coming in as a postdoc and maybe not having a contact net at the university, but you're going to be listened to starting off. Some brief details about living in Sweden. So I mentioned Sweden being extremely innovative. We're #1 ranked on the innovation scoreboard. For a country of 10 million people, I think it's pretty impressive that we have companies that are basically the industry leader in their field or among the industry leader in their field, like IKEA, tech startups like Spotify, Ericsson, H&M, Volvo. The Stockholm region, for example, produces the most unicorns or billion-dollar tech startups per capita after Silicon Valley in the entire world. Seeing what's going on here, I think we'll probably have a chance of passing Silicon Valley sometime in the future. But related to this, just like Norway, work-life balance is really important here. Less than 1% of workers work 50 hours a week or more. And we are one of the happiest countries in the world. And I think that's to a large extent because of the work-life balance, which we enjoy, which is really important and extends to academia as well. Sweden's also a very equal country. I don't want to say we're perfect, but in terms of gender equality, for example, it's very equal. It's also a really nice country to live in. We have 480 days of paid parental leave. So if you're working here, if you're doing a postdoc, you have right to that, and you can actually split those however you want between the parents. And it's really normal for parents of both genders to split that time equally, actually. I've had professors who took a year off or 6 months off to be parental leave, be on parental leave. So if you see lots of men walking around with prams, that they're not male nannies, they're probably on, they might be, but they're probably on parental leave. Something else important, I think, to mention is that we get a lot of people coming to Sweden to work in our companies, students, researchers, because they feel they can basically be themselves here if they're worried about their sexuality in their own country. And being part of the LGBTQ community is not something abnormal at all. It's going to be actually completely normal here, and people won't think it's strange as at all, basically. But I think that's really important to mention there, if any of you are considering that aspect. Sustainability is really a key part of Swedish culture. It's part of our research, basically, in all the research we do. As I said, the country has forests everywhere. It's 72% of the country is either covered by forests or water. We are the most sustainable country in the world, or one of the most sustainable countries in the world, and recycle just about all our household waste. Thank you for that. I want to wrap up, and hope I could at least address or give you some information, and I'll pass back on to Samrat and questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Douglas. I think that was a very, very nice presentation, also showing the focus and the importance of equality also in research, but also in the way of life in Sweden and similar also in other European countries. So first of all, thank you so much to our presenters, Martina, Per Magnus, and Douglas, for giving us a very broad spectrum of opportunities in your countries, postdoc opportunities. And we would now go into a Q&A session with you all. I could maybe kindly also ask Vivek and Tanya if you would like to come in and put on your videos, then the panel is complete. One of the questions which came up was about language requirements. Martina, are there any specific language requirements for doing a postdoc in Italy? Does one need to know the language? Italian?
No. It is English. For all this position, English is requested for the Marie Curie.
Okay.
No,
and now another question which comes, I think, to all three of you. What are opportunities after the postdoc for jobs in your countries, like for international researchers? Maybe Per Magnus, could you say something about Norway?
Yes, I mean, it depends on if you want to continue in the academic world or not. As you can see, I mentioned my friends Pavan and Deepak, and they went on to industry and to public organizations. And of course, when you go to, especially to public organizations or ministries or like the Research Council, there will be a demand for a certain knowledge of Norwegian language. But then again, if you have stayed in Norway for 2 years, you probably will have learned quite a lot. Of course, this is depending on the individual basis. But we see that quite a lot of those who come to Norway, either they go away after their postdoc immediately, and that might be because they got a better offer somewhere else, or but quite a lot also stay, and they do get a job in civil society or in industry, etc. And I guess that the same will happen with those going to Italy or to Sweden, actually. But yeah.
Douglas, how is it? Or Martina, would you like to say it first?
No, please, Douglas, go ahead.
Douglas.
Okay, sure. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty similar to what Per Magnus said in that in terms of job opportunities in English, If you're going to be working at a public agency, then you're going to need to know some Swedish. But also Swedish is a Germanic language. It is close to English, so you can certainly pick up enough. And I know many people, myself included, many colleagues who have picked up enough to work in Sweden and in Swedish. But there are tons of other opportunities if you're going to stay in the university space, or if you go to a company. And we have so many multinational corporations here where the language is English. So you don't need to know Swedish, but I would say it is definitely going to help socially and professionally as well, even if you just speak kind of conversational Swedish.
Yeah, the same for Italy, of course, if you're going into the public careers. In our case, Italy is really requested because it's not like a second language in a way, like in the northern countries. So if you want to stay and work in Italian companies, unless you join one of the many international organizations there are in Italy as well, if you stay in the universities, there are actually good chances of keep working in English, because we have many programs for foreign students that request also researchers to teach in English, but actually Italian is actually requested so far. We hope it's going to improve in the coming years.
And another question which was very common across the audience was regarding finding the supervisor. And Per Magnus, you already said, even if some of the master classes are over or some of the offer, it still makes sense to reach out to potential supervisors in your field, because it doesn't cost the host institution anything. If you get the grant, everything is fully covered. So please, to the panelists, what to do now, like for those who have not really identified the supervisor host institution yet, what would be your advice?
And of course, I can also add that you should also look for renowned researchers in your field, and you can Google their CV, and at least in most institutions in Norway, the professors, they put their at least a resume and a track record on the institutional website, and I guess this is common also in the other in Italy or in Sweden.
Douglas?
Yeah, I think it's pretty similar, and I'd recommend, rather than trying to cast like a really wide net, is trying to kind of focus in on a few specific departments, universities that kind of stand out in the area you're interested in, because usually they tend to, I think they'll react better, and it's probably a better use of your time based on what I've heard from just over the last week, kind of speaking to colleagues at universities and what they've said.
Thank you, Douglas.
Yes.
And Martina?
Yeah, regarding Italy, if you choose that you want to join a specific university, for example, I suggest that most of them, the biggest universities, the highest ranked, have a grant office that usually is the trade union with the professors as well. So they know well who is actually looking for opportunities to give to Marie Curie fellows, but also they can create it. So if you send your CV or your interest, usually on the website of the university, you will find the link to the grant office. The biggest university like Polytechnic of Milano have a specific team devoted to Marie Curie actions. So it is the link that I have put in the slides. So I would suggest also to go through them. If they don't have a specific professor in mind, they would have as supervisors, and they might help them in find the right opportunity.
And also, of course, I would recommend you to go to the Your Access portal, where there are the current open hosting offers are listed, and there are still many out there. And the deadlines are approaching for the expression of interest. So please, do check those links also. We will share the presentations with you, and you will have access to that links. Another question which was there, and again to all three, was about the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. No, we're all talking about them and the importance. So how important is it to have that in your applications, in your proposals now, to mention them, to refer to them, like in the countries we have here? Magnus, you could start.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, for most countries at policy level, this is very important. But I'm thinking when you are chasing a potential host, it's not about, you know, bullshitting your way up by using fad words, and it can become a little bit too fluffy if you relate everything in your potential project to the SDGs. So I would rather keep it at the lower level, at the science level, and show the potential host institutions, what are you good at? And also I would like to mention, and Vivek was mentioning this also, these postdoctoral fellowships are about transfer of knowledge, but they are also training opportunities, which means that you can also show that you have certain missing parts in your CV, but that you are conscious that a stay at a university in Trieste or in Umeå in Sweden or in Norway, that you will fill this hole. So you don't have to be a perfect researcher at this stage, but you have to show the potential. Okay, sorry, I drifted a little bit, but okay.
No, very, very good, very, very valid. Thank you so much. Yeah, Douglas.
I actually don't have anything to add. I thought that was really good answer. Yeah.
Martina, you would like to add something?
No, me neither. Just to point out that actually sustainable development goals are at the core of Horizon Europe as well as a whole. So the whole program is structured in a way to actually try to achieve the goals by 2030. So I believe that mentioning it is also contributing to the, you know, general objective of the program. So I would, of course, keeping it at the science level, as Magnus was saying, but I think it is an important point for the policy approach of the European Commission right now.
Yeah, let me just say that I think we had over 200 questions in this webinar, and Vivek and I have been trying as much as possible to answer, but sorry for those where we were not able due to the time constraints. But there are two questions which have been been recurring, and I think Vivek, maybe it's something you could also take on, is the thesis, the degree. So many students are handing in, they are defending, but they don't have the degree yet, the PhD degree. Can they still apply? Maybe you could clarify that one more time.
Yeah, no, it is very clear, and it is categorically mentioned that at the time of submission of the application, the candidate must have defended his viva and at least have a provisional PhD certificate, okay? Then only they are eligible. It is very clear. So there is no compromise in this. At the time of submission, you have to at least have a provisional award certificate in hand.
Okay, great. Thank you, Vivek. That's very important to remember that. And the second recurring question was about family allowance. What does that include?
So I'm not very familiar, but if you have you are married and going with the family, you will have an additional 660 euros family allowance for the dependents. And obviously the social security and all are covered, but I think you are better placed to answer this sometime.
Girlfriend, boyfriend is not included, right?
Yeah, I can answer that.
Yeah.
Actually, I think because we still haven't got all the rules yet, but I think that you need to prove that your relationship with your partner, no matter gender, is recognized either in India or in the country that you go to. So I see that Tanya is nodding her head. So, so I think that's the rule. So I think in most European countries, this will be quite easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Sweden, you need to prove that you live together with your partner before applying for a residence permit before they apply for a residence permit as a codependent.
If this is an issue, you should contact. Vivek had in his presentation the link to the national contact points, and you should ask the national contact point in the respective country, what is relevant for me? What are the rules in your country?
Yeah, this is very important that each of the EU member states and associated countries, they have national contact points, which you can find out, and there's a dedicated website and the contacts, and you can reach out to them, and they will be very happy to respond to you as soon as they can. One more question, which is this novelty, Vivek, with the 8 years, and that's a bit of a kind of a tricky, because what does it mean exactly 8 years? Is parental leave included or not? I think we have to wait for the guidelines to be out, to be absolutely 100% clear about.
Yeah, so the guidelines will be published somewhere on 22nd of June, which will also explain how they are going to calculate the 8 years experience. So that is very much clear, and it has been cleared by the Brussels that they will be publishing that guideline soon.
I can also add that it says in the draft work program that you must have a maximum of 8 years full-time equivalent experience in research, measured from the date of award of the doctoral degree. Years of experience outside research and career breaks, like having a child, doing a military service, being ill, etc., will not count towards the amount of research experience. And there will also be, for the female researchers, you will also get an automatic 1.5 year extension to this 8 year. So each child, if you have 3 childs, you have 4.5 years extra, right?
Okay. Well, that's good. Thank you, Magnus, for finding that out for us. Douglas, one question came just in, that one of the participants didn't hear the university you were mentioning in Sweden with machine learning, that there are research opportunities. Could you name that university one more time?
Yes, maybe I should put it in the chat, because I realized when I named it, it's a Swedish pronunciation, and it's Umeå University. But when you see it, you'll probably think it's pronounced Umia. So I think I will put it in the chat here.
In the beautiful north of Sweden.
Exactly, in the north Sweden, and a very reputable university with some wonderful facilities.
Okay, I think Vivek, Tanya, if you agree, we can conclude it here. And one more time, thank you so much to our presenters, Martina, Per Magnus, and Douglas, for being with us and giving us such a great overview about the opportunities. I think now the ball is with you, our dear audience. Take this information into and start looking for the opportunities if you're interested of doing a postdoc under the MSCA in Italy, Norway, and Sweden. We also have other countries which we will feature next week and at the end of June. So don't worry, there are much more opportunities, but it's a good start now to look into those excellent countries. And yeah, Tanya, what do you say?
Always something, isn't it, Samrat? That's the first. I would like to say once more hello to Martina. I wanted to reply on the chat, but we have worked a lot together before. It's been a while, so very good to see you back. Secondly, I would say there is no age limit to apply, and I find it extremely attractive when I hear older tree to apply. I mean, the way in which you have all advocated, promoted your country, the specificity, that is part of the mobility of such a scholarship. And then, of course, also crisscross going to the questions like, wherever you go, the selection by Horizon Europe is done on scientific excellence. So you have really to, it's very competitive. It's the whole world is looking at us to be selected in these top universities. So it's not a question of SDGs. It's not a question, I want to go to Norway because I can have a good balance between life and work and family. It's a question, what can my research bring for, not only for you, but for the university and for the planet. We're very much looking at solutions. We depend on you to find solutions for the planet. So that is what you have to keep in mind in your submission. You have to be motivated, of course, not doing it for the sake of going to Europe, but let me thank you that you have that interest of Destination Europe. We think it's a very good place, rich in culture, diversity, which Europe and India shares, top quality education. And then, of course, look carefully at the conditions. We gave some explanations, but we listen carefully today and also next week we will issue kind of a flyer with the key questions, like this new condition up to 8 years, what does it mean research, and then how it can be calculated, host country, host university, supervisor, and all that. But start looking at it as from today, because it takes more time than you think to prepare a good application and to find your supervisor, to do it jointly and all that. So I hope that we have encouraged you to apply. Be prepared for failure. I also have to say that it's very competitive, but India has traditionally been done good because you have scientific excellence. So please keep up the good reputation of your predecessors, and best of luck. And thank you again to all for having contributed. As I said, there is no age limit, so I'm very tempted to apply. I think Martina is laughing because she would probably do too. We would go to Norway, isn't it, Martina? Especially we are here, I am here in India, like for all of you, and it's 40 degrees, it's so hot. So when I saw these pictures with cool and fresh, I thought that's what I can need as well. But then I'm not serious because I would need a project, a research project I want to, of course, dig into and bring something for society. So I don't qualify per definition, but the motivation would be there. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice afternoon, and please join us next week at the next webinar on the MSCA. Bye, everyone. No,
absolutely. Okay,
thank
I will be there.
Thank you.
Bye, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, 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 be back.